Okay, before we dive into this session of the Dealer Playbook, because we value you as a listener to the Dealer Playbook podcast, we have something special just for you and your dealership. Get your copy of the Secret Dealership Lead Generation Blueprint, where you'll discover the 6 simple steps that will help you get more high-quality car buyers on autopilot. You'll find out what tools you need to truly explode online, how to create an action plan that converts leads into buyers, and how to find an audience who is ready to buy, and also how to leverage the power of content marketing, plus so much more. So to get this free blueprint download, head on over to thedealerplaybook.com/lead and download your free copy today.
This is the Dealer Playbook. Hey there, thanks for listening to episode 63 of the Dealer Playbook podcast, where every week we're delivering the best tips, tricks, and strategies for you, today's automotive professionals. My name is Michael Cirillo, sitting down with my pal, my gruff sidekick, Mr. Robert Wiseman. What's going on?
Hey, what's up,
pal? Hey, how are ya?
Hey, so this is going to be a fun episode. I'm really looking forward to it. We're sitting down with the Instagram expert, and you know, what I think is so fascinating, what we're going to talk about today are ways that you can not only grow a following on Instagram, but monetize it, which is, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this because, as of today's date, I have like 200 and some odd followers, but we're talking to somebody who has multiple 6-figure earning Instagram accounts. And so I'm excited to sit down with Sue Zimmerman. It's a really fun episode that we're going to have with her. I'm really looking forward to it. Robert, what you got to say?
She was awesome. I mean, really good time, and she knows that platform pretty well, and was, been doing things with online, offline brands and companies for, last few years, and seeing great results and speaking. I mean, she's, been a great speaker on stage at, some of the biggest events, in just online marketing and social media. And she's got some great ideas that, you'll easily get how you can just execute them right now today on your Instagram to help your brand.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's jump in with Sue. You guys are going to really enjoy this. Here we go. Hey, Sue, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Hey, it's very exciting to be here. This is a completely different market niche than I'm used to talking to, so I'm excited.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you, especially because we've been, fully immersed into different interviews and stuff that you've been on. The most recent one, I think, was even a health and wellness podcast that I was listening to this morning, and you had so many insights that I was like, holy crap, I have so much that I need to ask. But we're going to try and keep it as organized as possible, especially for our listeners. But, I just want to say, first and foremost, it blows my mind that from Instagram, you're driving, 20 to 30 new leads, new opt-ins a day, which we'll get to in a minute here. But I think the best place to start really is at the ground floor. I mean, how does somebody in the car industry, as a car sales professional, where do they get started in a localized way, I guess regional way, to start leveraging something like Instagram to build a business?
Well, anybody can humanize their brand through digital storytelling. And that's essentially what Instagram allows any business, any brand to do. I say like on steroids, because you literally can scroll through someone's digital scrapbook of what they value, what's important to them, what are their core values. Like they can be celebrating their customers, their employees, and really get people to feel that emotional feeling behind the brand. And even though there are so many automobile dealers across the country, every single one is unique in its own way. There's stories behind every dealership and how they started. And people want to know. People do business with people that they feel more connected to.
I love that because that's something we say all the time. It's, people do business with people they both, well, I used to say both like and trust. Chris Ducker has corrected me and say they do business with people they both love and trust. And, I like this whole concept of bringing things to an emotional level and this digital scrapbooking. Now, you used to do scrapbooking, or you used to do something with scrapbooking. Is that correct?
Oh, I love that you did your homework. Yes, I did.
well, the giveaway was, Sue, that he was listening to a health and fitness podcast this morning. Was that he was doing homework?
Well, that's because I've started getting back into it. I gotta shape up for the kiddies.
Research.
No,
yeah, you do. Yeah, so I actually was on QVC 8 years ago teaching people how to embellish their real photos in their photo albums when scrapbooking was quite the trend. And I love that it's kind of full circled for me to now be teaching people how to embellish by using third-party apps and the filters right inside the Instagram app. So it's pretty cool.
So, I mean, I know for myself, I kind of use myself as my own case study, especially, in our industry. I think there's way too many people out there, especially in our space, who, want to come across as experts. But something that we found works really well is being our own case studies and sharing what we've learned. Where I'm going with that is I have an Instagram account. I pretty much use it for everything. I post some business related stuff there. I post family photos there. I post a bunch of stuff. Is that the approach that I should be going with it, or is there a better way to manage Instagram so that I kind of carve out a space for myself?
So that's a great question, and that is a problem that I see in a lot of Instagram accounts. I get probably 100 plus new followers a day, and I might follow one account back because I'm so confused about who they are and what they're doing and who they're serving. So if your account is mixing the personal, meaning the dogs, the kids, the vacations, what you're eating, what you're drinking, that's confusing if you're telling me you are also an automobile dealer. And I need to know, like, I'm just, when I get confused and I have no idea who you are or what you're doing, there's no value in it for me. So I will not follow those accounts. I need to feel some form of, I need to be educated, entertained, in some way.
And basically know who you're dealing with, too. Know what you're about, too. I mean, how much does that help? Automatic qualifier.
Oh, that the very first thing is the bio. I mean, if people say, in their bio, if they don't even have a bio that makes sense and they're talking about their hobbies and, where there's 5 different ones and there's no clarity around the bio, that's a sign that it's not being used strategically for business in my mind.
Okay, so hold on, because I'm just deleting a bunch of Instagram photos right now. And changing my bio. Okay, so great point. So what's the way around that? How does I mean, is it just a couple of different Instagram accounts? Yeah, go ahead.
I may, because I want to bring the most value.
Do it.
And get the most out of our time with Sue. Okay, Sue. So check it out. So if you guys probably don't know, maybe do. Sue grew up like her dad had a auto parts supply store, right?
Yeah, Al's Auto Supply.
All right, Al's Auto Supply. You can find them at Al's Auto Supply.
No, they are long out of business.
I'm just kidding. So.
Wait. I just got to jump in. The AutoZone, totally wiped out the small moms.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Same with, the Jim's Hardware store when it comes to Lowe's, Home Depot. Oh, yeah, that format's gone.
Yeah, but my dad got out before that all happened, so that was really good.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart businessman. Okay, so let's start. Let's go. I'm going to take you into your creative zone. So I sell cars, okay, at a dealership in Average Town, USA. You know what I mean? And I'm getting started on Instagram. All right, there's enough content. Anybody out there can easily find a way to set up their account, start one. But, so I don't want to waste the time going to that. Let's talk about what's the steps. Okay, let's talk about how do their first step is a killer, probably name for their page and their bio, etc. So if you're selling cars, Sue, what's your Instagram account going to look like?
Yeah, so before you even set up the account, you need to have a strategy around your business and at least have that strategy written down in a way that lists your core values and who you are and what you represent and how you're different from everyone else that does what you do. And you've got to have branding, visual branding around that so that it pops, it resonates, it stands out. So before you even start, you need to just have that strategy outlined in some way. And to your point, you do need to have a Instagram username that lines up with your business name. And there's all kinds of workarounds that I teach. If you can't get your literal business name, you can use underscores, you can use dots, you can use .com.
Okay. But so if I'm an individual that's working somewhere and I'm a sales rep, like if I don't use my own name, to go back to what Michael said about, like, you got to be careful with your account because you're posting pictures of the kids because that's who you, and it's on your Instagram, and then you post work stuff, and you said that was confusing. I get that. So what's the balance as an individual personal brand that sells cars? Like what's an example of, just pull one from the air of a title for that.
Yeah, so talking about a car model or brand or company that you represent and the value and the features of that car that stand out from other cars that are similar. I think cars are like the number one advertisements on TV because they can afford to advertise, but most of them are kind of boring. And so you want to stand out. I reference that because I think there's ways that you can stand out with some like idiosyncrasies that go on in the dealership or when you're selling a car of the most popular questions people ask you. You can add humor to it. You can have like how to be a top salesperson. What are some of the key tips that you do to close a sale? You can take any kind of angle. You can have some great quotes from Ford. There's just so much around cars because everyone has at least one of them. And people are attached to their cars. It's probably the second largest asset they own in their lives. So there's just an association that everyone can have to that car. As the car salesman that goes to work every day selling cars, you can position yourself as a person with those core values that I mentioned that make you stand out from all the other sales reps. Like why would I want to buy a car from you versus the guy three cubbies down from you? What are you going to do for me?
Cubbies.
Whatever they're called. What are they called? What are they called?
Oh, there's multiple formats, but yes, I'm familiar with that one.
So for, I know what I like in a salesperson, and it's someone that doesn't go back and forth with me. Why are you better than anyone else? Why do I want to buy my car from you? And because anyone can do market research online and find out prices and buy a car online these days. So if you want to bring me into your dealership, you've got to lure me in some creative way. Now, with the photos comes the town that you live in. So most of these salespeople live in a town that's a whole nother place to have great visual eye candy around that establishment. What are some of the features of that town that would make people actually want to drive to that town to come to your dealer? If there's a Toyota dealer in my town, but you're 3 towns over, but you have a better price and you have the car and you have the color, like, what are you going to do to get me there? And you can absolutely do this through visual content on Instagram if you have a strong avatar, that's a photo, a good username, a bio that is not confusing, that has really clear, concise keywords that represent you and your brand, that has a call to action, that has a unique URL that you can actually track, and because you have one link that you can take people to. And then you have visual content around your space as either the dealer or you're talking about the salesperson going to work and selling at that dealership. So it has to resonate that you are giving me information that I'm either smiling at, laughing at, saying, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you told me. Okay, so here's something, like telling me something as silly as, I didn't even know till like 6 months ago that the arrow of what side your gas tank is on is literally on the dashboard of your car. Like, I did not know that until I think one of my kids told me.
Oh yeah. Like that's
I'm like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that because I'm like, which car am I driving and what side is the gas thing on? And I'm like, I don't know. I have to open the door and look, and then someone tells me. So like things that you think everyone knows about pricing for gas or just taking care of your car or waxing your car. Should I take it through the car wash? And if I do, what should I look for? And should I shampoo the rugs? And if I should I have leather? Should I, like there's so many different add-ons with a car. Do I want Cirrus in the car? Do I want Bluetooth? Or do I want to,
So how
So
do you? Is there a balance? I mean, because I know in our industry, especially, the natural inclination is to go straight to like a pitch. Everything's going to be pitchy, like, hey, come on down and check me out, and it's going to be like, hey, check out, like they're going to take pictures of every car on their lot, and they're going to say, come check out this fine establishment we've been in. 2013 clean, lady driven, local, one owner. We've been in business for 30 years, and they're going to say all the same things. So, I mean, I guess first off, I love what you're saying here about there's got to be a strategy. I mean, we always talk about this, which I mean means that they're not just jumping off the cuff and diving right in and, hey, great, I'm going to sign up for Instagram right now and just start taking photos. I mean, to me, that suggests that you're going to sit down and really think about some of these things. And how do you get around that? I mean, I know thinking about myself sometimes is a really hard thing, thinking about what makes me different, because I tend to come up with pages and pages of items that just resemble other people more than do you know where I'm going? So I think a lot of people listening in are going to have that same struggle. They're going to go, well, I hate talking and thinking about myself to get started. So what does that strategy session look like? Is it a brainstorm? What would you suggest?
Well, first, let me just say two things that came to my mind. One is on Instagram, you absolutely do not want to be selling. Period. You don't want any post to look like an ad. You don't want any post to look like it came literally from your website and you just reduced it to put it on Instagram. Instagram is taking people into where you are. It is like a point of view where I feel like I am right there with you by your side. So, people have these creative accounts where there's all these cool vantage points where they're coming in and you're feeling like you're with them. The quality of the photos always have to be superior. There's all these criteria around what makes a good Instagram post. But before I go deep in that, let's just talk about, you need to think about, where does your perfect customer go? What does your perfect customer do? Do they go to the gym? Do they go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts? Do they shop at Walmart or do they shop at Nordstrom's? Like, who are you trying to attract? And you need to post images that will attract those kind of people. So you really need to make a list of who is your perfect avatar, meaning client.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, you made it. That was probably one of the best ways for me to envision that, is like a picture that appeals to someone that shops at Nordstrom's compared to Walmart. I mean, you got that's an easy one. How to put that together.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
I could talk about, I could talk about this for a long time, and I really, I can help any industry have success on Instagram. So, and because I know cars to some degree. I am not a car snob by any means, but I know what I like to have in a car. And I also know people are emotionally attached to their car, especially men. And it's just an extension of who they are sometimes. It's like my car. So there's a whole emotional connection to cars. And that's a whole nother piece and a whole nother level that you can hit on Instagram. And again, sometimes it can be quirky quotes. Funny things, like I said, that you hear over and over again.
The hashtag opportunity should be huge too. With that.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother topic. Yeah. We can go into that if you want to.
Well, I think for me the big takeaway right now is, like you said, identifying your avatar, who's your ideal customer, and making sure that everything you post resonates with them. So, I guess a tough thing there too would be fighting the urge to just keep posting other stuff and maybe always just cross-referencing back in your mind, oh, wait, would my ideal customer resonate with what I'm about to post? Yes or no, and then dictate from there, right?
Exactly. And you should always have these kind of in the back of your mind, if I was looking at this account, would I get value from it? like, is this well said? I mean, there's a certain lingo and language that kind of goes on in Instagram that's different than any other platform. I like to say, Gary Vaynerchuk is like, it's all about being um, native to the platform, and native to the platform on Instagram is capturing somebody's attention emotionally with an insanely awesome photo, and then separately you can step it up by giving more value in the description if you choose to, like National
Yeah.
Geographic.
Yeah.
So I know firsthand what kind of posts I make, and I do have 6 different Instagram accounts. Which post I make gets the most engagement and why it gets the most engagement.
Well, and the beauty about Instagram though is like, and when you say that is, the right posts to make and why they're performing the way they are is, who's going to see it. Like on Facebook, it goes out, like if let's say you're doing an organic, like, or ads, or you're sponsoring it, you don't know exactly who's going to see it because of the share factor. Like the Instagram community is kind of like I've always said is the true social network. That's where friends see friends. There's not that thing that my friend likes somebody else's post that's like in my feed, my main feed. You know what I mean? So it makes the relationship there, I think, a lot different, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I love Instagram because you choose. Okay, first of all, it's chronologically curated, so you can go back in time and just see where people started their journey on Instagram. And like I said, I like this kind of analogy to a scrapbook. It's a digital scrapbook, and that's why I love posting there, because I don't print photos anymore, and I don't organize my iPhotos on my computers anymore. It's too much work. Instagram's where I go to kind of document everything I'm doing, but now with the mindset of how can I serve my community, entrepreneurs, business owners who want to anchor their brand on Instagram and get more eyeballs on their content so they can ultimately grow their community and relationships, build trust, and get people to click the link to go to their opt-in, whatever that might be, and grow their email list, because the money is in the email list.
Yeah, and that's ultimately where we need to get. I mean, it's one thing to just take photos for the sake of taking photos on Instagram, but the next part, which is so impressive here, is you just said earlier that you're getting about 100 new followers on Instagram per day. And ultimately, a percentage of those are turning into an email list sign-up subscription of some sort. Are you open to telling us what your conversions are like from Instagram, and what did the road to getting to where you are now look like?
Oh, sure. So since January, when we created an insanely awesome opt-in, which is our strategy guide, it sits on our website, SubiZimmerman.com. We take everyone there from Instagram, from all of our accounts, when we're not launching a product or when we're not an affiliate for a launch, or, if I'm not on Periscope and putting the download there. So I do change out that link occasionally, but since January, we have grown our email list over 5,000 opt-ins from Instagram, $0 spent.
True.
Okay, so holy crap, and
that's as targeted as you can get right there. I mean, that's quality.
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys know. I mean, you messaged me right in Instagram to do this interview, so you know the power of Instagram.
Figured you got high on your own supply. It'd be easy to get in touch with you there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hells yeah.
Okay, so the road. I mean, because right now, just on Sue B. Zimmerman on Instagram, you have like 15.7 thousand followers.
That's one account.
That's her personal.
Yeah, that's just one account. Where, I mean, and I'm looking at the photos and I see what you're saying, but I mean, likely the people listening right now are going to be probably where I'm at right now on Instagram, because truthfully, I haven't spent a lot of time on there. I now have this fresh resolve to to get more involved, but probably somewhere around the 230, maybe even less than that people. How did you get from new account to 15,500 followers with 100 new every day? So you're growing by 500-600 or maybe 700 followers a week. How
Oh,
and
wait.
where?
Yeah.
Well, here's something I
so-
want to. Oh, I'm sorry, Sue. Real quick, what's the
Yeah.
Sue? What's the Instagram for your, like, you own a brick and mortar business as well, right? And you used
Yeah.
Instagram to grow it. What's the name of that one?
SueBeDo.Cape Cod. But I created that one after. Let me just tell you my journey on Instagram so that listeners can appreciate this, because this is a journey that they might have as well. So I got on Instagram because my teenage twin daughters were literally on their phone scrolling all friggin' day, and I was like, what are you guys doing? This is crazy. And they're looking at, and I used to teach social media. I've been teaching it for 8 years. I don't just know Instagram. I know every other platform. So I looked at them and they're like, Mom, don't get on Instagram because then you're going to start teaching it.
Gonna make it uncool, right?
So I got on it because
Dude,
they were on it.
if I was a teenager, I'd be like, way to go, Mom. Like, let's make me famous right now.
Well, now they're like, now they
teen.
do think, now they kind of like how I'm rolling in this Instagram thing.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So they were on it. I got on it, and then at the time I got on it, my account was called Sue Be Do Gal because someone had the name of my business, which was Sue Be Do. Remember, I talked about workarounds, so I added the word gal, and I grew my account. And in that summer that I took it on from my store, I have a seasonal store here on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. My sales increased so much. I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, Pinterest, and I've never had this kind of success where people literally walk in the door and they say, I want to buy that. And they would show me their phone. And I'm like, this is amazing. Yeah. So I, at the time, was attending a lot of different conferences, learning about this online space, this online expert space. I went to Brendan Bouchard's Experts Academy, and a whole new world opened up to my brain, which is called online selling, online space. And so I embraced it. I learned about it, and I decided, holy guacamole, I got to do this thing. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I've had 18 businesses. I know how to like seize opportunities. So I got in a big way, attended some serious masterminds, learned from the best, paid for great coaches, and really understood what it took to build out an online presence. With that said, I then decided to change my account name from Sue Be Do Gal to my name, Sue B. Zimmerman, and brand myself. Now, at the time, I was just Sue Be Do. So now I've created this whole new business, Sue B. Zimmerman Enterprise, 2+ years old. And then I decided to change that name. So I changed it to Sue B. Zimmerman because on Instagram, you can change your account name at any time. So that's why this account is the largest account. It's because it's the one I started first. Now, since teaching Instagram and understanding where the success of Instagram is, which is in the niches, which is in the focused content, the more laser focused you are with what you share, the more success you have, comes success. And so that I was sharing in Sue B. Zimmerman, I was still putting photos of things in my store. I was putting some Instagram tips. And I was doing everything in that account, kind of like
what was confusing, as you said.
Exactly. So I'm a perfect case study. So then I created another account called the Instagram Expert, and that account has 7 or 6,000 followers, but that account is growing at a much faster rate. And here's the point we're making. This one has 13.3 thousand, and I only have 519 posts. So my conversion rate is crazy awesome because people actually get notifications, because you can turn your notifications on from any Instagram account by just clicking on those 3 little dots at the top of the right-hand corner on any Instagram account and click on turn notifications on. So people have their notifications on when I post, because I always post and give value about how to grow your business using Instagram with the latest tips, tools, and strategies. So this account is like my golden standard account because it's always about Instagram tips. Sue B. Zimmerman, people know me because I've been speaking on many podcasts, over 100 in the past year and a half.
And I mix it up a tad there.
I speak on stage. People know me, and the people that know me, meet me, hear me, like me, trust me, want to kind of see, where's Sue B today? Like, what's she doing? Kind of like, where's Waldo? So I've got people that know me and are connected to me, and also they see that every time I post on Sue B. Zimmerman, it's very intentional as well. This is the point that I talked about at the beginning, the humanization of your brand. So Sue B. Zimmerman is all about getting to know, like, and trust me. And so when people meet me in person, they actually say, "Oh my God, your dog Cody is so cute. And your daughters, Lila and Kara, are beautiful. And your oldest, like they will literally recite like where I vacationed and what I did." And I'm like, "And who are you?"
And your name is?
And so they just know me. They know me. They watch me. They may live vicariously through some of my posts. And so that's totally cool. And that's my second account. And then when I spoke on stage at Creative Live and I taught 2 Instagram courses, they came up with a great Instagram community that they wanted to have for me around the hashtag and username InstaGalLive. And so that community has over 4,000 followers. And this is very, very specific to the community of Creative Live, people that have listened to me when I was live streaming and teaching Instagram. So what I'm saying here is that you can build out communities around content as well. And these are just three of my 7 accounts. So I know that the more laser focused I am with who I'm serving, what I'm sharing, the more I attract that ideal client, I want to say, that ideal customer, that perfect avatar that we all thrive to have.
That's awesome. And I think a big thing, especially around definitely in automotive, is that they just, I don't think people really understand the power of having a community of even 100 people, but of targeted specific people, of how valuable that could be.
Oh, it's crazy. And by the way, there's a tool that I teach in my Insta Academy course called Social Rank, where you can literally go into this tool and you can search people on Instagram in certain states, countries, cities, and find them and find people with certain criteria. It's kind of crazy.
Huh.
I have, I don't know, about 8 pages of notes here because, like I said,
Oh, good.
no,
Can I
I'm
copy
serious.
it?
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a picture and post them on Instagram for you.
That's so funny. That's a circle. That's called behind the scenes, and those are good posts too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
go.
and like I said, I mean, at the beginning, I love being the guinea pig because I think our market especially is saturated with people who say they know stuff, but they never actually show how they know stuff. And I love saying, hey, look, I know this. I'm sharing it with you because A, I want you to be successful. I mean, that's the whole point of this show. But B, here's how we know it because we did it, and here's what we found out. Kind of that, that Pat Flynn style, like, hey, I'm the guinea pig. So I've taken these notes.
He's the crash test dummy.
He's the crash test dummy. Maybe I should change it. I mean, I'm not a big guinea pig fan. I don't know.
By the way, I know Pat Flynn. I've spoken on stage with him recently at a social media day in San Diego, and he is awesome. He's awesome.
He is awesome.
All right, well, great. So we
love watching him on Periscope. Yeah, so we should probably get him on the show.
You can hook us up with him to come.
You guys need to start watching me on Periscope too.
I'm going to follow you right after the show. I suck at the multitasking thing. But, regardless, I'm so excited to try some of this stuff out. Just winding down here, Sue, because,
Yes.
I mean, I should probably do that at some point, even though I feel like I have 20 more questions for you.
You can ask me whatever you want. I'm fine.
Okay.
Let me get one more.
Okay,
Michael.
go for it.
All right.
You guys are fighting. This is so
Let's
funny.
talk about a bot. Let's talk about the profile pic. Okay, let's not even talk about, from a dealer, and then if you're an individual salesperson, like, do you want to lean more towards like a human photo?
Yes, always a human photo, unless you're Lexus or Mercedes or a big brand, Toyota.
But what if you're the dealer that distributes them? So you're Williams, Lexus.
I even think the dealer should have a face because everyone wants to do business with a person, not with a friggin' logo.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Then how do you select whose face that is? Because let's say you're that dealer that you own it, but you're like you're paying people to run it. Like, who is the person that gets selected? Like the GM.
The cutest face.
Oh, well, that would have been me.
I'm joking. So, I think it is, you can even do employee of, well, you don't want to change it up too much. I think it's a face. It's a smiling, happy face of someone that works there. And it doesn't literally have to be the owner. It can be a representation of the spirit of the people that work in that company.
So it'd be good for when the customer does come in that they would see that face possibly like maneuvering around the floor, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just really want to elicit a friendly face that people want to connect with. I have a client I worked with who sells hand knitted scarves and hats, and she's in her 60s and she's all uptight about how she looks. She feels like she has too many wrinkles and she doesn't want to be the model. And I'm like, have someone wear your hat and scarf that you want to be a model for your products, and that's okay.
Is that the hat and scarf you're wearing in that picture on your website? I didn't know. That was a pretty good pic.
No. That's oh, thank you. I'm glad you noticed. That was I like that.
Such
picture.
a ladies man.
Well, I did. That's so good because everybody's cool, like, cool, like fawns, like Lewis Howes posted up against something, just looking like, Brad Pitt movie star. But you're like in the cold, a little shivery. You got like the big scarf, the hat type thing. That it stuck out to me. It was different. Very good.
Yeah, Lewis. I know Lewis well too. We spoke together in LA. Lewis is awesome. He has the best Instagram account for any guy I know. Period.
Oh, okay, so
Oh,
that's
good. Now I know
Lewis
who to
Howes,
model.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's
The best.
phenomenal. In my mind, the best male account that he does. He does most. I don't know if he does all the comments, but I know that I talked with him about it.
That's fine, but it's non-niche, right? It's his name.
It's his brand, the School of Greatness.
But is he mixing it up too, or is he?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, he's totally mixing it up, but you really feel like you're connected to him.
So if somebody models that, they'd be in the right direction.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I think that's a great great account for you to model for sure.
Love it.
Lewis is awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, Robert. Any other things you want to jump in there with, or are we ready to shut this thing down?
She was just getting.
Wait, can I just tell you guys something? This is so funny.
Yes.
So whenever
Sure.
I get interviewed on these podcasts, it's like the guys on the other end are like, "Wait, I know this is for my audience, but I just need to ask you a couple questions for me." Okay, everybody, this is all about me right now. And then and then they ask me questions, and then they hang up, and they all open up a second Instagram account, and it's just pretty cool.
I do all
Yeah,
that.
so pretty much like
post-show.
Yeah, I think I'd be pretty transparent. That's totally what I'm doing right now. Sue, no, this has been absolutely a ton of fun. So much information. Like I said,
Awesome.
we could probably ask you 25 more questions at the bare
Where do
minimum.
they connect with you?
Where do we get connected with you? Where do our listeners
Sure.
follow
So
you?
your listeners, if they're brand new on Instagram, I have an amazing course called Ready, Set, Gram, which will really get you going and set you up for success. This is a $197 online course that is amazing. And we have a private Facebook group so that we can answer all your questions and you can be a part of our community if you need our support. Separately, if you head on over to my website, our brand spanking new awesome website, SubiZimmerman.com, we give you a free Instagram strategy guide in exchange for your email, which we don't abuse. We send out weekly newsletters with always the intent of helping you grow your business via Instagram.
I appreciate you sending me that deal on Ray-Bans last week too.
Why do some people do that?
No, it was just
At the-
conversation we had earlier. No, like you say that we didn't abuse the email, and I was just like, thanks for the Ray-Ban deal. That's like a cliche Facebook thing. Like, how many of your friends tag you with a Ray-Ban? Sorry, I was just
That's funny.
attempted to be funny.
Awesome.
that's-
Sue, it's been an absolute pleasure. So glad to be connected with you. Thanks for being on the show with us today.
Hey, my pleasure. You
Thank
guys
you.
are awesome.
Thank you.
Oh. All right, man. Now that was a good time. That was Sue Zimmerman you can find her again at Sue B, SUEB Zimmerman.com. Cirillo, what'd you think, man?
That was a lot of fun. She's got you can tell she's just a wealth of information, but it's what's the best word? She's just very genuine. Like there's no fluff around it. It's like, hey, do this and it's gonna work. Yeah. And I was sitting there like you heard me say. I was like I was sitting there with my phone in my hand and I was just going through and deleting a bunch of Facebook, a bunch of my Instagram photos. Yeah. So I'm excited to try some of these things that she's talking about and see what the result that comes from it. But definitely,
and follow her on Instagram. We're gonna link up to her her accounts and stuff in the show notes. So make sure you check out Sue B. Zimmerman on Instagram, and also I think it's Instagram expert.
Yep. So if you go on to Instagram right now, and or whenever you have a chance, and check out her accounts, Instagram expert, and I think the Instagram gal or something like that. I was just looking at a few of them, and I'm already kind of learning just visually from what she's saying. And then she's got these it's almost like reading a visual blog, but on Instagram, because she puts, not just a one-liner like, hey, check out my low-quality, low-light food photos. It's like, hey, here's some actionable information that you can use.
Exactly. And all you got to do is, again, there's nothing there that you can really just copy that whole idea. And you don't want to copy anybody anyway. But what you want to do is swipe. You want to swipe ideas from people and, layouts, and then just make it your own and make it relevant to your audience.
Yeah, there you go. So if you guys are looking at how you can grow your Instagram following and eventually monetize it or start monetizing it, I mean, she's who you got to get connected with. We're going to link you up in the show notes at www.thedealerplaybook.com/63. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Michael A. Cirillo and Robert Wiseman. Check us out. We'd love to pick you up as a follower, and we can exchange ideas there. Definitely check it out. And, of course, check out the show notes once again. We appreciate you guys for listening into the show every single week. We love the feedback. Don't hesitate to give us more feedback. And if you feel so inclined, leave us a review on iTunes. We would very much appreciate it. Until next time, guys, talk to you soon.
Thank you.